Hello, and welcome back to the channel. If you're returning, if this is your first time, welcome to the channel. My name is Shimmerback, and today we are going to do a long-promised S-tier video. So for those who have not been here before, the last few videos that we've done in sequence are basically a tier list of the games that I've completed on Steam. So this is my personal library. So far, we've been through D tier, which are games that I don't think you should play, buy, or spend time in. We've done C tier, which are in many cases perfectly serviceable games that I just didn't care for, or didn't enjoy myself, but would recommend to other people. So these are my tastes. These are C tier for me, not necessarily for other people. B tier are games that are quite good. I enjoyed quite a lot. They just had either some significant flaw that kind of, drew them down a little bit, or they had some older systems or things that weren't player friendly, or just things that I didn't enjoy personally. But really fun games that maybe had things that brought them down from greatness, true greatness. A tier are the truly great games that I enjoy so much. These are games that I love. I've played at least once, maybe even multiple times. Yeah. S tier, which is what we're looking at today, are the best games that I've completed in my Steam library so far. Okay. So what does completed mean? Because some of these don't have like stories or campaigns. Tetris Effect here actually does have a campaign, so that's what I base that off of. Helldivers 2 here has an ongoing live service type thing, so it really doesn't have the same format as many of these games. But what I'm considering done is I've completed the core gameplay loop. I've also, I've hit a planet, I've done all the objectives, I've extracted, which is what you do on a level. I've also put just under 100 hours. I'm at 99 hours right now. So I think I can speak pretty authoritatively on what this game is about and why you should buy it, or play it. So, yeah. Today's video is the culmination of many hours of gameplay and really going through my Steam library and really playing the best that it has to offer so far. I do have a pretty massive library of over 1,000 games, and my plan going into the future is to make more and more videos about these. Some of them will be short and sweet, kind of to the point. Should you buy it? Should you not? Based on my tastes. Hopefully, if you're watching this, you do share my tastes. So that I can help inform you about really great experiences to enjoy. But if you don't share my tastes, I still welcome you here, and I hope that you're able to get something from these videos. Hopefully I'm contributing positively in your life some way. Or if there are games that you like that I don't, perhaps that you can inform me on why they're better or something I missed, because that does happen quite often. Okay, so today, let's go alphabetically through this, as we have every other tier list. So again, there are over 1,000 games in my Steam library. These right here are the only ones that I have put in a category as I've kind of completed. So 51 in my Steam account that I've officially completed and feel like I can say, hey, I beat this. Now, I've been playing games for about 30 years now. It's my favorite hobby. It's something I've tried to get away from multiple times, and I just haven't really been able to. So I'm trapped here in the best purgatory you could ever imagine. And I love video games, and I just want to talk about them and spread that joy and whatever to other people. So today, the focus is really the best experiences that video games have to offer, as of today, that I've completed, that I've personally beat, and I can speak extensively on all of these games. So, yeah, let's get to these. Let's go through these one by one. Number one is going to be Anno 1800. Okay, I have 22 hours into this game. I did buy this game pretty recently. I believe around Christmas. It was on a pretty big sale with all the content included. I was actually kind of frustrated with the DLC model because there are certain things I didn't want, but I got anyway. I didn't want, certain functions and whatever. I really wanted to create a city that was very naturalistic, very natural. Didn't have, machines and skyscrapers and stuff that was just very, near to the earth and organic and stuff like that. And I'm not sure if that'll pan out. I'm still on the tutorial. I've put 23 hours into the tutorial. I've seen people on Reddit and other places say that they've, blasted through this tutorial in like 3 or 4 hours. I have no idea how they did this unless they just sped it up. Anno 1800 is the culmination of many years of games in the Anno series. I own a couple of these, and I played a few of these when I was younger, and I really enjoy games like this. The issue with Anno 1800 is that I thought it was a city builder kind of manager type game. It's really not. It really is an economic simulator. It's based on building out your cities, having production, balancing out your production with labor, and producing things, and increasing complex webs of labor and productivity and stuff like that. So, is it a fun game? I really enjoy it. I'm a huge nerd. I really like these manager and commerce type games. One of my favorite games when I was younger was the Roller Coaster Tycoon series. I really loved creating a park. I really loved balancing out economics. How much is the park going to make versus how much joy are the patrons going to get when they come in? How much are the guests going to like it? How many bathrooms do I need to put down per square footage and stuff like that? So I really enjoy these kinds of games. The reason Anno 1800 is in S tier, of all places, is that I believe it is the best modern simulator of an economic colonial simulator. I think it's the best one to date by far. I really enjoy this game. I put 22 hours into it, and I believe like 1 or 2 sittings. It might have been 1. But I haven't played it since because I have an addiction. The reason I have not beat this, I have not even beaten the tutorial. The reason I feel like I can put this in S tier is because I've seen enough of the game. I've seen enough of its systems. I've seen enough of how it works and the world and the story and such, that I think I can definitively say this is one of the best games of its type on Steam. I love it. I will play the shit out of this when I get more time to. It's a really great game if you want to kind of focus, on something, but also kind of turn your brain off at the same time, because, once you set the things in motion, you just kind of monitor them and watch them go. It's very much like a train set in that regard. But yeah, Anno 1800 recently also came back to Steam. It was off for a while. It was on the Epic Game Store, but the Epic crowd got to kind of test this out and, give all the feedback for the DLC. So we love them. Again, I rebought this on Steam pretty recently, and I really enjoyed it. It's a very fun game. It's really great if you're kind of a nerd like me and you like these types of experiences. But yeah. The only drawback really is Ubisoft. It does require Ubi Connect and all that stuff. That launcher, it really sucks. It's always online, all that stuff. But the game, I have very few problems with Ubisoft's launcher. I know a lot of people do, but I'm lucky, I guess. This is a really fun game. It's really fantastic to play. It's a time suck. It will engross you and enthrall you, and you will absolutely love it if you're into these kinds of experiences. So yeah, highly recommend picking this up on its sale price. The full edition, I think, is like $50 or $60 for everything, absolutely everything. It's a fantastic experience, and you can't go wrong with this if you enjoy these. Okay, so yeah, we have Doom Eternal. Doom Eternal is pretty unique on this list in that I actually made an extensive review on this game, and you can find that at the link that I'm going to post in the description, in the comments, and right here on screen. Doom Eternal is quite possibly one of the best first-person shooters ever made. It carries on the pedigree of the Doom series. I don't think they could have done a better job. It's such a fantastic, phenomenal experience. There are multiple mechanics that you can use to take down your foes. There are multiple firearms. There are multiple power-ups and ways to kind of empower your character by using armor pickups and the chainsaw and the flamethrower and the punch and all these other things. The Doom reboot that came out a few years before this one is a fantastic game, but one of the issues is that pretty much every weapon will do, it'll damage every enemy. In Doom Eternal, you have to be more specific. You have to be more methodical. You have to be more precise. You have to pick the tool for the job, right? You're gonna hit a cacodemon in the eye, with a weapon that you're not going to use on a marauder, or that you're going to use on a series of imps or whatever. So, or a spider tank, you're going to hit that turret and not do that for another enemy. So it's much more technical. The way the developers described this when they were developing it is you're basically the Doom Marine as a race car, right? You're not going to obliterate everything. You have to zip in and out. You have to be very agile. You have to be very smart. You have to pick your shots in your battles, and you have to know when to move. It's such a fun game. I love this. I will say that the DLC, there are two. There's Ancient Gods Part 1 and 2. It's kind of sort of like a Avengers type thing where, you summon all this help and you have this huge battle against the devil or whatever. I recommend you skip those. They're very fun from a gameplay perspective. They're more of what we got in the base game. They shit the bed when it comes to the story. The story is really, I would venture to say, it's just bad. And also the game, at least on launch, was so unnecessarily punishing that a lot of people didn't even complete it. I did, but I had to turn on the difficulty from the highest, which is what I beat the base game on. The base game is fantastic. I put, it looks like 70 hours, just over 70 hours into this. I love this game. I will probably play it many more times because it is a phenomenal first-person shooter that carries on the legacy of first-person shooters. The king is still on top, right? So Doom Eternal is a fantastic game. If you're interested in hearing more, I do have the review linked here. Fantastic game. If you like first-person shooters, highly recommend. Actually, why are you watching this video? Go play it and then come back. Yeah. All right. So Doom Eternal, 100%, one of the best first-person shooters ever made. One of the best experiences you're going to find on Steam. All right. Elden Ring, I did not realize, but Elden Ring very quickly shot up to the top of my library as I believe, the most played game still in my library. I have 230 hours, just over 230 hours into this game. I have done a completionist run where I did absolutely everything in the game. I earned every weapon, I earned every trinket, every piece of armor, I farmed everything. I killed every single boss. I cleared every single point of interest, everything. The only things that I have not done are the multiple endings of the game. I have done absolutely everything else. I have played this a few times. The first and second times I kind of rolled characters that I didn't like. I was trying to get a feel for the world and what kind of abilities and what kind of a character I wanted to make. And I landed on basically a jack of all trades. I also chose a trinket that basically gave me a massive debuff. I think it was like I take 10 or 15% extra damage, but I also do 15% extra damage. I also took another debuff by hugging, I can't remember her name, Death Companion, I believe. The Death Companion, I hugged her, and that knocked down my health. So I ran with a very, very high-risk, high-reward build. I died so much because of this build, but I absolutely loved it. My character was like a jack of all trades, like I said. I used magic, I used range, combat, I used, whatever. Elden Ring is just really a fantastic game that the thing it does best is exploration. I have never, in 30-something years of playing video games, played such a compelling video game in a world that I want to get lost in. And the world is a shithole. It is an apocalyptic wasteland. This world is far past its prime, but it is so gorgeous, and it is still alive. And it might have the scraps of a world, scraps of the world that it was former, and it may have the dregs of its societies picking over its bones, but it is such a beautiful and compelling world. So if you're into Skyrim, if you're into open world exploration games, Red Dead Redemption, if you're into any of these games like this is better than those, in that when you explore this world, you are going to find things that you are not going to find anywhere else in the world. If you play Skyrim, you can find dragons all over Skyrim. If you play Skyrim, you can find the exact same loot in the southeastern corner of the map that you will in the northern tippy top of the map. If you play Red Dead Redemption, you're gonna find a horse and a guy who fell off of it and hurt his ankle, but really he's gonna betray you and try to take it. You're gonna find that in the southeast corner of the map in Lemoyne and Saint Denis, and you're gonna find it in the northwest in Tall Trees. Elden Ring is one of the very few games where you're going to find truly unique monsters. You're going to find truly unique stories. You're going to find truly unique characters. But the biggest thing that Elden Ring does for you is it gives you extremely unique loot that you're not going to find anywhere else. You can find a cattleman revolver anywhere else anywhere in Red Dead 2. You can find an iron bow and iron armor anywhere in the world of Skyrim. You will not find and of course I can't think of a specific example because I haven't looked at the game in forever. You cannot find some of these weapons in Elden Ring absolutely anywhere else. Now, having said all that, is it very repetitive? Yes, it can be actually, because a lot of the dungeons in the overworld uses a lot of the same monsters to populate its world and to create tension and to present you with challenges. It's the composition of those enemies and it's how they're set up throughout these maps and throughout these dungeons that really presents the challenge and the interesting stories that happen. I do have my criticism of this game. I don't like how the quests are formatted. There's basically no journal, so you almost literally have to pull up a guide and play with like a wiki pulled up the entire time. And I don't like that. I don't think that's good design. Anything that pulls you out of the experience, I think, is a fault on a game. But again, Elden Ring is such a sublime and superlative experience for anyone who either loves video games or just loves fantasy world in general. If you're someone who likes books, I sincerely believe you can get into this and you can build a character, you can make a character who you're going to love to explore this game. And also, there are other side challenges. There's extra content. There's Melania, fighting Melania, which I did do. I did beat her in, I think it took about half an hour. I cheesed the shit out of her. You can also, the Lord of Blood, whose name I can't remember right now. You don't have to do any of that content. It's optional. So if you're someone who just wants to be lost in a fantasy world and see some really beautiful, really terrible places and, explore and just kind of be an adventurer, this is a fantastic game for that. It tells an extremely compelling story with multiple pantheons of deities, multiple different schools of thought on how to proceed with this world. It is truly one of the best games ever made. It is very flawed. It has a lot of issues, but it is an absolute masterpiece of the medium. And I believe that anyone who wants to know what video gaming is about should at least play this game, at least for a little bit, at least for 5-10 hours. They should give it a chance. It is absolutely phenomenal. It is the best that video gaming has to offer. Okay. I'd like to add this as well. I didn't buy Elden Ring when it first came out. I waited like 3, 4, 6 months. I didn't care about the hype. I did not care about the game at all because I have played the Dark Souls games, but I got my ass handed to me. I played Sekiro, got my ass handed to me, and I was like, all right, let's just try this and see what it's about. And it is such an accessible but punishing game. It's such a phenomenal thing. I loved it. It is one of my favorite games of all time. I will eventually do a review or some other content on this because it's a very special game. Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2 is, I have, what does it say here? 99 hours in. Right at 99 hours. Helldivers 2 is definitely S tier because I sincerely believe this is the best co-op horde shooter that exists right now. And perhaps maybe has ever existed. I played the Gears of War games when those came out years ago on Xbox Live. Me and my friends played those together. We're still playing video games, 15, 20 years later together. We are having an absolute blast on Helldivers 2. It is the most fun I think I've had with a video game in, 2 or 3 years of just raw fun, just enjoyment. The satire, spreading democracy and, whatever else is really interesting from a poking fun at our current society. And especially if you live in the United States, you'll see a lot of things where you're just like, yeah, it's ridiculous. It's over the top. And it's pretty dystopian. They capture the flavor of the satire and dark humor of the Starship Troopers films really well. They do a fantastic job with the voice lines, but they do a fantastic job with weapon balancing, with the mechanics and how they work when you're on the planet. When you hit the planet, you're to do various objectives while destroying and killing whatever bugs and bots on whatever planet you are. You do your missions, you complete your operations, and you get out. There is friendly fire. You will die a lot, whether you mean to or not. Your teammates will kill you. It is all part of the fun. Helldivers 2 it's so frustrating to see this game because I see so many other games that could have used this format and could have been so successful and done so many things for their fan bases. There could have been Resident Evil games where you're dropped into Raccoon City and your job is to hold out and take out the horde and do objectives, and then you get out. There are games where there are opportunities for Halo where you could drop Spartans or ODSTs on planetary maps, and then have them do objectives while fighting the Covenant or Brutes or the Flood or whatever, and that would obviously be in first person. But there's so many opportunities for this gameplay loop, this design to really take hold and bear fruit pretty much anywhere. It's such a fantastic game. It's such a great time. It's also extremely consumer friendly in that it's very affordable. They do not try to nickel and dime you in the cash shop. It is a very light cash shop. I've actually bought almost everything that it's offered so far simply because I wanted to support this kind of business practice. It is a live service game that is continuously updated. Me and my friends are not super happy with the war bonds. The community is also not happy with those. It seems like they're pay to lose in some cases because they really suck. But I will absolutely keep supporting this game financially as long as they keep putting out really great content. The one issue that Helldivers does have is, there are two actually. Number one is if you don't have friends, you need to make some very quickly. And you can do that with other democratic agents of democracy when you hit the planet. So you can definitely do that. The other issue is it does have server issues. I don't know why, but I get booted from matches all the time. I can play this really well for about 2 or 3 hours at a night, and then for whatever reason it just kicks me out over and over and over, and I just get so frustrated. I get done with it, and I tell my friends, okay, I'm gonna do something else. But again, I've put 100 hours into it. Probably like when it first came out, I had really significantly bad server issues, but now it's much better. And probably 97-98% of my time played is actual time played in the game. So a really fantastic experience, lots and lots of fun, really wonderful design, really wonderful world building, just a fantastic game. Please play this with other people. I will eventually start putting out clips. I'll put out like a montage or something of like our funniest moments or just gameplay or something like that. Because I've been recording these. I have a file of these on my computer right now that I watched a few minutes before I started recording this. and I could not breathe. I was laughing so hard. And in the clips, I was laughing so hard. And that kind of infectious laughter is healing. And that's something I really love this game for, is that brings you together with people you love. And it is just a fucking great time. And you get to laugh and just enjoy yourself. So highly, highly recommend Helldivers 2. 100%. I think everyone should have this game. It's like, all right, Monster Hunter World. So this one is kind of strange. I have Monster Hunter World. I've beaten it at least twice. I think I've beaten it more than that. I've put, it looks like 44 hours onto this save on Steam. I have beat it on PlayStation 4 before. So I beat this when it first came out. I played this with one of my best friends, and we played this and beat the shit out of it. And I came back to it because of Monster Hunter Wilds, which we're all excited about. Monster Hunter World, I was really worried about when it first came out, because I've always wanted to play a Monster Hunter game, but I was never going to do it on like a 3DS or a Game Boy or something like that. I've never been a mobile gamer. Or a handheld gamer rather. It's not something I'm interested in. I don't like that. But Monster Hunter World is just such a phenomenal experience. It is such a great game. It has diversity of systems and diversity of monsters and diversity of gameplay that you can literally put 1,000 hours into this game and still like scratch the surface of some of the things that you can do. I get tired of grinding in games. I don't really particularly just enjoy grinding hours and hours and hours. One of my best friends absolutely loves that. That's his thing. It's not my thing. So I did get to Monster Hunter World Iceborne, which is the expansion for this. I got fairly far into it, and then I was asked to grind quite a lot for materials. I probably beat the base game in like 32 hours, maybe a little bit less, probably less. It's a fantastic game. The story isn't particularly impressive, but the story isn't really what you play these for. You're in these for the world, Monster Hunter World. You're in these for the experience of hunting down, I'm trying to think of a name. Oh my god. I'm trying to think of a monster name and I can't. An Anjanath. An Anjanath is very similar to a T-Rex. Hunting down an Anjanath or a Devil Joe, which we all call Pickle, or a Rathian, which is this, dragon type thing. The thrill of Monster Hunter World is fighting something that can dumpster your ass in like literal seconds, but taking it on and feeling powerful and doing that with friends, doing that together and earning all these upgrades and doing it over and over with increasing challenges and increasing complexity with systems and mechanics. It is such a wonderful experience. It is so much fun. Yeah, there are some cute monsters you have to kill in some cases, but the game is just it's just such an enjoyable experience. Highly recommend to anyone who loves open world games or games with a significant challenge but not overbearingly so. Games that you can play with your friends and just get lost in this world and really enjoy it. And again, it's the best. It is the only game that does what it does, which is it presents you a hunt game. And you're fighting something that is far beyond your abilities or capabilities, but with your upgrades, with your team, with your friends, you can persist and really knock out these challenges. It's a fantastic experience. I love it so much. It's not my favorite game ever, and it's not even my favorite game in this list on S tier, but I cannot deny that it is the best game that does what it tries to do. So I highly recommend this 100%. Stay away from all the goddamn DLC. There's hundreds of dollars of DLC in this. Maybe get the deluxe edition and maybe get just don't do that. Just buy the expansion. Buy Iceborne. You're fine with that. You're good. Iceborne is also fantastic. I really enjoyed that. It is extremely hard compared to the base game. There is so much shit that will just dumpster you there are monsters in Iceborne that make the base game roster just look like little bitches. It's crazy. It's terrible. But it's so much fun. And there's the very first monster when you come into Iceborne. I can't remember what it's called right now. But it's an ice variant of a Lavasiath, which is a creature in the base game. And that fucker beat my ass like I owed him money over and over and over. And Finally, I was able to kill it because I was extremely persistent. I was finally able to kill it. I mean, it took me an hour. It took me 3 hours because I had to come back in multiple times because I kept dying to it. It took me 3 hours to beat this. But when I beat it, I took it back to the outfitters, right? I took it back to the forge, to the armor master. And I used the skin of that little fucker to make me some armor out of it. And I came back in and I started hunting them down like over and over and over. And I was very successful. That's what this game provides. It provides you a challenge that seems sometimes insurmountable. And then you shit on that monster, finally. And then you come back with like its skin, and then you hunt its brothers and sisters down, and you shit on them too. It's such a fun game. It's such a great experience. I can't recommend this enough. Capcom is also just banger after banger in the last few years. This is a really great example of Ready or Not. Ready or Not is going to be, it's kind of weird. It definitely deserves to be here, and it should also be in like C or D tier. I'm keeping it here though. The reason I'm keeping Ready or Not in S tier, and I will probably keep it here until they do something really stupid where you just shouldn't touch it. Ready or Not does what no other shooter on the market right now does, and it gives you an extremely visceral and realistic, the closest realistic simulation to an actual gunfight or an actual tactical situation. It does it the best. There's no other game that touches this. Rainbow Six, any variant of Rainbow Six, whether we're talking Rainbow Six Vegas or Rainbow Six Siege or whatever, those games are Call of Duty compared to this. Call of Duty, Battlefield, of course, are too zippy. They're too fast. Squad does something like this, but in a military simulation type way. There's no other police simulator that does what Ready or Not does. It is visceral. It's terrifying. Excuse me. It's visceral. It's terrifying. It's nerve-wracking. It's scary. It's unsettling. It puts you on the edge of its seat almost every single time you do a mission, and the stakes are sky high every single time. The very first mission in this is a gas station robbery, essentially, like a convenience store gas station type thing. There are 4 hostiles, and you have to go in either alone or with your team, and you have to neutralize these hostiles and save the hostages inside. At any point, whether you're inside or outside the building, any of those 4 hostiles can kill you in less than 1 second. So that danger, that risk, that fear, it stays with you and it doesn't leave. And your adrenaline is constantly on edge because you know the stakes. Ready or Not is the best simulation game regarding tactical shooters on the market today. There's nothing even close. Tarkov doesn't touch this. Rainbow Six, like I said, doesn't touch this. There's no other shooter that does this. It is ugly. It is very ugly. I think it's an ugly game. I think that the writing could be better. I think that putting these stories together could be much, much more fluid and done in better ways. I also think some of the design is pretty opaque and it doesn't do certain things very well. But again, it does what it does better than anyone else on the market, and it is the only game of its kind. So Ready or Not, for lack of a better option, is the best game of its type. I have a little over 60 hours. Probably 40 of those were put into the game after it hit 1.0. We put quite a lot of hours into this together in early access, but it is a fantastic game. I highly recommend it for anyone who likes shooters, who likes role-playing, a tactical police experience, if anybody's interested in doing that. You can hit spacebar, like when you're holding your firearm, you can hit spacebar to lower your weapon so that you're not tagging your teammates. That's how much of a simulation, and that's how much care and thought have gone into role-playing police officers who are trying to save people's lives in a SWAT situation. Really fun game. Really nerve-wracking, really stressful, but again, best experience of its kind on Steam. So yeah, highly recommend. Okay, Resident Evil 4 Remake. This is not the original. I need to reiterate that as much as I can. I've never played the original. I played Resident Evil 2, the original, for about 10 to 15 minutes. And even as a child, I felt that tank controls were very stupid and should not be in a video game. I hate tank controls. I think it's just bad design. I know that the series creator, whose name I can't remember off the top of my head, because of course not, I know that he put in tank controls to increase stress and increase the tension that a player feels while playing the game. I didn't like that. I never touched it. I also didn't play the original Resident Evil 4 on the GameCube or the PlayStation or I don't know where else it came to, but I didn't play that at all either. I don't own it on Steam. I may buy it at some point just to see, how it feels in comparison to this one. I didn't buy Resident Evil 4 when it first came out because it doesn't let you shoot and move. So like if you're going to aim your firearm, you have to stop and you have to stand still, and then you have to pull the trigger, and then you let go, and then you can move around, and then you have to stop and set still and pull the trigger. I don't like that. I hate that. To me, that's comparable to tank controls. This Resident Evil 4, the remake, is pitch fucking perfect. I've never played the original, so I had no expectations other than here's a scary game. I was aware of Las Plagas. I was aware of some of the entities in the game. The Granados, excuse me. I knew about the blind dudes with the giant claw hands. I knew about the giant ogre troll looking dude. I knew about a lot of these, but I've never actually experienced them firsthand. I knew about Krauser. I knew about Las Plagas in general. I knew about some of the monsters that show up, but I never actually got to experience it. With Resident Evil 4, I loaded this up. I turned it up to its hardest difficulty because that's what I do with games, and I played the shit out of this game. I played it nonstop for I think 3 days straight. If I wasn't at work or at asleep, I was playing this. A tremendously well-produced game with excellent use of tension. This is one of the best examples of survival horror, I believe, on the market, because you are trying to survive. You are pushed to the edge and to the limit every second of this game, at least on the hardest difficulty. Leon's relationship with the president's daughter, whose name I can't, Ashley, with some of the other characters in the game, the merchant. I did see all the memes when that had originally come out. The merchant's fantastic here. I really love this game. It was very hard. It was very frustrating, but I was also I could not tear myself away from this. Resident Evil 4 is the best survival horror game ever made, in my opinion. I haven't played so many other of the games in the series. I have played Resident Evil 2, I believe, the new one, the new remake. I played that. I really enjoyed that. This is better. I played a little bit of Resident Evil 3. I played a little bit of things like Outlast. I played some other games that are survival horror. This is better. I played a few moments of Resident Evil Village, I believe. Or no, excuse me, not Village. Biohazard 7. This is better. Okay. This is the best Resident Evil game ever made, with some of the best Resident Evil characters ever made. It is such a phenomenal experience. I highly recommend this for anyone who loves horror games or games that push you to the edge or your limit of your combat abilities or exploration. It's an absolutely beautiful world set in Spain. Basically, there's a cult and a village and a castle, and it's a phenomenal game. Highly recommend this to anyone. I loved it. I recommend this to everyone I talk to now about Resident Evil games, because it is just such a wonderful game. But yeah, I will definitely play this again. I will definitely make videos about this at some point in the future. I loved it, and I can't say enough good things about it. And I'm someone who does not like horror games, so if I'm telling you this, it must be true. Like yeah, phenomenal experience, great game. Please play it. Please enjoy it. Let me know in the comments if you've had a similar experience with either this game or another series that you thought you wouldn't like and you really turned out to love. But yeah, Resident Evil 4, I put 31 hours into this. I will definitely play this again. Fighting games are very complex, both in general and for me specifically, because fighting games really shine when you have friends to play with. Fighting games, they shine when you have a buddy who loves them, or you have a couple friends who like to play them a lot, and you can kind of come together and practice together and really fill out the characters and really fill out the world and understand your combos and practice with each other and partner up and stuff like that. It's very similar to martial arts in real life in that you'll spar and you'll teach things and you'll encourage each other, and you'll diss each other and stuff like that, and you'll mess with each other's heads, and you'll just have a good time. I don't have any friends who like to play this game. I don't have friends who like to play fighting games. None of my friends like fighting games. So I just play these alone, and I play them for the campaigns. I play them for the stories. I get attached to a character or two, and I'll play those characters for, maybe 5-10 hours, and then I'll move on. Street Fighter 6 it's not a remake. It's not a reboot. It's a celebration. Street Fighter 6 is a celebration of all of the Street Fighter games. It is a culmination of 30 years, maybe more now, of the Street Fighter series, done at such a really wonderful level of technical prowess that the game shines. The NPCs that you're going to fight, it does have an open world kind of, city exploration fighting mode type thing. I really love this. It was really fun. It reminded me of, not Shenmue. It reminded me of the Yakuza series a little bit, in that you get to explore and meet these people and make friends and do these little mini games with them and, move on and stuff like that. The thing that Street Fighter 6 does better than any game I think I've played in a couple of years now, it creates a world of pure joy. Street Fighter 6 is very bright, it's very colorful, it's very welcoming, the food is delicious, the men are hot, the women are beautiful, the food is fucking the drinks are cold, the beaches are bright and sunny. Everyone here, even your enemies, welcome you with open arms. Even JD, the story is actually really quite good. I really enjoyed globetrotting with, our guest, our counterpart, our friend, or whatever he is. I really enjoyed how goofy it was. A lot of the enemies were these cardboard boxes on their heads because the series before had those in previous editions. There's some NPCs that are almost exact, replicas of really old NPCs in the very first games that you would fight. We're talking the early 90s, and they've created they've created a world that is based on and pulled together from the legacy of Street Fighter over the last 30 years. And to play this, as someone who played the original games when I was a kid, to play this, it felt like coming home. It felt like it's new, but it's familiar and it's welcoming and it loves me and I love it. These characters, we've known for 20, 30 years. We've known some of these locales because they're our real world. And for you to be able to travel to these places and meet the characters of Street Fighter and emulate them and really have them as mentors, even if it's just fighting style and not so much story, that was a really powerful thing. I have Mortal Kombat 1, I have Street Fighter 6, and I also have Tekken 8. Of those three, Street Fighter 6 is the one I love the most. And I'm usually a Mortal Kombat person, and I played the shit out of Tekken like 15 years ago. So to me, it's really surprising that the one that I was looking forward to the most, it turns out, is not my favorite. Street Fighter 6 is absolutely the best fighting game that has come out in the last 2 years. Support is a little different to talk about. At least they didn't pull out such an egregious cash shop that Tekken has. They still did. They did pull out a cash shop, but it's not as bad as Tekken's is so far. It's not nearly as bad as Mortal Kombat's shit show. Street Fighter is a world that wants you to come play in it. There's an arcade mode where you can actually go chill with other people and you can make your own character. Mortal Kombat and Tekken don't offer that. It's just such a great experience. It's such a great world. It's such a fucking wonderful, wonderful fighting game. Please play this. If there's any game, if there's any fighting game that you want to check out, that you want to get into community-wise, or the characters or whatever, I promise you that you're going to find a welcoming home somewhere in the Street Fighter 6 universe. Fantastic fighting game with fantastic mechanics, excellent presentation. It is the best fighting game out right now, in my opinion. Again, not based on Street Fighter. And finally, our very last is Tetris Effect Connected. I did not know this game was out for a while. Tetris is Tetris. If you've ever played Tetris, you know what this is. It's a puzzle game. It is the puzzle game. I read this not long ago, but apparently some researchers did, some research, and they found that playing Tetris for a few hours after a traumatic event almost completely negates the trauma that would have been caused to the brain as a result of that traumatic experience. What that means is, say you got into a car wreck and it was quite bad, you hit your nose and you're bleeding or whatever, and then the EMTs they set you up or whatever, and they hand you a Game Boy and you're playing Tetris. The traumatic damage that would have been caused to the brain long term is partly negated just from the Tetris effect. We don't understand it. Researchers don't fully understand why it works. Why are these mechanisms here? And also, that was an example that the researchers used. That's an example I'm making up on the spot. I bought Tetris because I was like, if I have a shitty day at work, or if I have a bad day or whatever else, I can come home, play Tetris, and be good. I can just hang out with my friends on Discord, play some Tetris, and just chill. And I can say that to an extent that was true. I really love this game. It is the best, most polished, most beautiful that Tetris has ever been. I actually bought it because I went to the website. I had heard the trailer and I was like, oh my God, what music is that? And I went onto YouTube and I found the song, and I actually bought this game for, I think Tetris Effect Connected here is $40, and I bought it for like 15 or 20. But I bought it because I was so enamored with the soundtrack. I bought this game because I wanted to chill. That's not what happened at all, because the campaign is extremely hard, and you need Tetris brain to beat it, and it was very frustrating. I got really angry. I have just under 10 hours into this game, and I'll play it more because it is beautiful. There are lots of custom modes that you can do to make it to your liking, which is what I'll do in the future. But I did beat the campaign. I really enjoyed it. It has a lot of really interesting backgrounds and artistic techniques going on. It is absolutely gorgeous. It is beautiful to listen to. You're gonna be in Tetris mode, like you're gonna have Tetris brain when you're playing it, so you don't really get to enjoy a lot of that stuff. But the ambiance and just having your brain turned off and you on autopilot as your brain does its thing, with the Tetris effect enacted, is why I'm recommending this game. It is the best version of Tetris that has ever existed. It is a little expensive. Get it on a sale. But it's Tetris. I mean, of course Tetris is S tier. I can't think of anyone having messed up a game of Tetris. So like, yeah, it's really fun. And that's S tier. When I say again, S tier are the best games in my Steam library, I'm not saying that they're my favorite games in my Steam library, because they're frankly not. I have games in A and B tier that I was just like, I fucking love these games and I'm going to play the shit out of them. But S tier are, in my opinion, these are the quintessential, the best, the most defining experiences in the video game medium. If you want to get someone into video games and you want to show them the peak of what it has to offer, these games are all examples of that. And there's nothing, even in their categories, there's nothing better, right? These are why we game. These are the experiences of why we game. So yeah, this is S tier. This is it, everyone. This has been a lot of videos, D, C, B, A, S now. So 5 videos of just the tiers. What else do we have going on? Let me say this first of all. I did say 2 weeks ago that I'd have the S tier video out the next week, and I didn't. I do apologize for that. Work is quite taxing, and my body has been breaking down a little bit. It's been I've been pushing it a little bit too much. I've been working too much and not prioritizing myself for my self-care. I'm hoping to do that in the future much more. And I'd also like to give you a preview of what's to come. I did have Mafia 3 in the pipeline to be next over here. I've decided to push that back to next year. I've decided to push that back to February, specifically for Black History Month. Mafia 3, much more so than any other game I've played, is a story about American history, but it's even more so about American blackness, and it's about the black experience in the United States of America in its time period, which is the 1960s. It deals with race, it deals with racism, it deals with hardship, it deals with family, it deals with so many other themes that the Mafia 1 and 2 games do not touch. And I really want to take my time and do some research and make sure I'm giving this game the proper respect and reverence it deserves. Because it is a phenomenal experience. I love it. It is my favorite game in the Mafia series. So we're pushing that back to February. I am working on the scripts for this, and I'm working on the research now. I already have the footage, so it is in progress. It's just going to take quite a lot of time. In the meantime, I have decided to restructure how I have done videos in the past. I had the goal this year of making 12 videos, one a month, at least one a month. And then I changed it to 12 videos for the year because that's much more manageable. And if I hit that goal and then I exceed that goal, I'm going to feel so much better. So here's what I'm going to do instead. Right now, I think I'm a person who I'm very concerned with being close to the natural cycles of the universe and nature and the world and stuff like that. I would prefer to go camping and fall asleep under the stars as opposed to going on some fancy vacation or going to Coachella or something crazy like that. I'd rather be alone and just enjoy the tranquility of solitude. And one thing I think is that as human beings, we're quite disconnected from the natural world, and I don't like to do that. So I am going to try to format videos in the future in accordance with how the game feels. So what season would this be a game that I want to play, right? So what I'm doing right now, it is spring officially, but these are games where the videos are supposed to release in spring, which means I would have to work on them before spring, which is not what I'm doing right now. So here's a very small preview of what I'm hoping to do in the future. This is summer. All right. These are games that I'm going to try to work on over the next several months and try to have some sort of content ready for y'all, whether these are analyses or reviews or just fun stuff. I'm not sure yet. But these are games that I'm currently working through to try to create something that whenever summer hits, right? And I believe that's June. Whenever June hits, late June, we can have these videos that are hot or sunny or exciting or take place in some sort of environment that we're really going to enjoy playing them. I can go ahead and tell you that I am currently playing Grounded. I have never played this before last weekend during a free trial, and then I bought it immediately because I loved it. 26 hours in 2 days. That tells you how addicted I am already. Subnautica is one of my favorite games of all time. It would be an S tier if I've actually beaten it on Steam, and I haven't, so I haven't put it there yet. Maneater, I believe, is an A tier. I love this game, and I still have the footage from my playthrough, so I'm definitely going to do something with this. Call of the Sea is a game that I did not give a lot of time and attention to because I kind of got pissed off. because it wasn't what I thought it would be, and that's completely on me, but I'm going to try to revisit this. Firewatch, obviously, fire, summer, it's hot, we'll see what happens. And then Chrono Cross is something that would be a much longer term project, because this game is very, very special to me, and I do not want to rush this either. But yeah, that's kind of the plan going forward. For games like Assassin's Creed Origins, what I'm going to do, I've already decided this. I am going to, where is it? I am going to do longer term videos with those kinds of projects. One example is I am currently playing Red Dead Redemption 2 right now. I have 62 hours, just under 62 hours in the game. It is not my first time to play it. I have beaten it before. I'm really trying to take my time with this one. So what I'm planning on doing is I would like to release a Chapter 1 video in the winter. Because they're in Coulter. That's what Chapter 1 is about. And then Chapter 2, Horseshoe Bend, I'll release that next spring, and I'll just keep going. So I don't know if this is actually going to pan out, but I know that trying to create a video just off the top, and it's taking me a really long time, partly because of my ADHD, but also because of my other obligations. So my hope is to bring these to you in ways, bring these videos to you, to the channel in ways that are appropriate for whatever time it is. You'll notice this is for winter. This is Assassin's Creed 3, which takes place in the United States, and a lot of this is in the winter. Resident Evil Village, in the snowy area in Europe, where this castle and all this other stuff, and it's quite cold. Suicide of Rachel Foster takes place in basically a hotel that's isolated by a blizzard. Below zero, Subnautica, also in a really cold place on the planet. So yeah, basically the idea going forward is that whenever these games feel appropriate to sit back and watch is when I would like to release content on them. And what I'll be doing is I'm going to try to work on these this season before they need to actually come out. So right now, these are the summer games. This is stuff I would release in the summer, but I would have to work on now. So yeah, I don't know what my next project is going to be. I do have some things also that are prepped for fall. I have footage for them. I've done some writing on. Specifically, I've already completely written a script and done the recording for Ravenous Devils. That's definitely coming around Halloween. I think I'm going to actually have quite a few of these games for Halloween ready to go. So it might take some time for videos to hit the channel, but I promise I'm working on things. It's one of these things where, a film or a CD or whatever else is going to come out, at whatever point. And it's frustrating to wait for them, but work is being done on them in the meantime. So yeah. And I don't know how y'all feel about these videos, these tier videos, but I can also talk about individual categories I have if y'all like, and I can go into games that I really care about. I'm thinking about doing a my favorite games of all time video, where a lot of my games I haven't talked about at all, but Chrono Cross, Fallout New Vegas, Final Fantasy VIII. These things are definitely games that are near and dear to my heart that I can talk about in the future, and I can talk about why if y'all would like that. That might be my next thing. But yeah, this was S tier. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you are familiar with any of these games, please tell me. Please tell me if you love these also, and tell me why. Maybe there's something in these that I didn't see that you have. And also, if you watch my other videos, my A tier, B tier, all the way down to D tier, which is do not buy, do not play, let me know how you feel about these. If you like these videos, I can definitely make more. As you can see, I have a ton of categories and stuff to make videos on and talk about. But yeah, for now, we have done 5 videos in a little over 2 months, which is really great for me. And it's really wonderful to be productive, and I'm so appreciative for everyone who watches these. If you'd like to see more, please like, subscribe, leave me comments down below. I'll talk to you. And for now, I will work on whatever I can, and I will not overpromise anything, because I don't want to underdeliver. But yeah, I will see you next time. I hope that you're doing well. I hope that you're all finding games that are really wonderful experiences for you. And also, because I keep forgetting, I do have a Steam Curator page, which I will link also in the description below if you'd like to see kind of the Cliff Notes version of some of these reviews. But yeah, have a great day, night, evening, weekend, whatever's going on, wherever you are. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you as soon as I can get back to this. But yeah, have a good one, and again, thank you so much for being here. Bye.